Are you a hardworking local business owner striving for success online? There is help. Welcome to the Smarter Local Marketing Podcast, featuring candid conversations and inspiring stories of online success. Now, here's your host.
Yes, this is James Martell, and I am your host for the Smarter Local Marketing Podcast. And today, I am being joined by Jose Quiroz, a local customer acquisition specialist and a partner here at SmarterLocal, and we're going to be discussing 3 surprisingly easy to implement strategies to quickly grow your email audience from 0 to 1,000 plus. Now, before Jose joins us, just a reminder. Hang on a sec, Jose. I got
No worries.
Take here already. Where's my script? There we go. Hang on. There we go. We'll just continue on. Now, before Jose joins us, just a reminder that if you would love to finally have in place a rock-solid internet marketing strategy for your business that provides you with an excellent ongoing return on investment, go ahead and reply to the email in which you receive this podcast episode to arrange a free 30-minute consultation to discuss how a Smarter Local marketing program can be custom tailored to your specific needs and business. Again, simply reply to the email in which you receive this podcast episode to arrange your free obligation 30-minute consultation. Now again, Jose Quiroz is a local marketing specialist and a partner here at SmarterLocal, and we're going to talk about 3 surprisingly easy to implement strategies to quickly grow your email audience from 0 to 1,000 plus. Jose, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you, James?
Hey, I'm doing very well, thank you. And hey, I'm excited to talk about this. This is an important subject for business owners, of course, because they are always looking for ways to bring new customers and existing customers back through their door. And I know I'm preaching to the choir with you, but you sure know the benefits of email marketing.
Oh, definitely. And I think this is great for business owners because business owners, I believe, have a mentality that it's so difficult to grow an email database, but it's surprisingly easy. Like we said in the title, it's surprisingly easy, especially when you have experts who can kind of give you those 3 tips. Yeah,
that's what I want to talk about today is 3 really simple strategies that any business owner primarily could take advantage of to quickly grow an email audience. And sometimes it's so easy that it's surprising. And I know I've done this for a local pub over the last few years and quite a number of others, as you would know. And it's really not that complicated once you kind of get things in order. Before we talk about that, though, I've got a couple stats here. One is from Marketing Sherpa, and I thought we'd share this with our listeners. They're obviously a popular online research firm, and they found that 61% of consumers actually enjoy receiving promotional emails weekly, and 38% would like emails to come even more frequently. And you've probably come up against this. Sometimes we talk with business owners and local business owners who are a little bit apprehensive about actually sending emails to their customers because they think they might be bugging them or infringing on them.
Right. And I think it's good for a business owner to understand that if an email is valuable, if it's dealing with your business, if you're reaching out to a customer who's already shown interest in your business, then this is just a way to stay engaged with them, not necessarily hard selling them or bugging them or intruding on them, but educating them more on your business, communicating with them, and making them feel part of your business.
So well put. Now, I also have another study from the Direct Marketing Association, and they discovered that consumers spend a whopping 138% more. So consumers who receive emails spend 138% more than consumers who do not receive email offers. And I could see how that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, we both know that, the sell is in the follow-up. So email is that. It is the follow-up, and it will trigger someone to say, oh, that's right, I've been wanting to check out that restaurant, or I've been wanting to purchase that service, etc. So it's a friendly reminder. Sometimes that's all you need is a friendly reminder to go in and close that deal or buy that item.
Now, I've got three points as we talked about. Let's dig into the first one because it's a little old school. This has been done far before the internet. Obviously, they weren't sending out emails, but they were sending out direct mail pieces. But they needed to collect the contact information for their clients. Today, it's a lot easier because we don't have to lick any stamps and mail any envelopes if we've got their email address. But I always call it the magic fishbowl. And I've used this so successfully with businesses that when they see the fishbowl fill up with their customers who may be coming up to the till to pay their bill, or it's a local pub where they've got a fishbowl sitting on the actual bar with a little sign on it and a contest, that people do fill these fishbowls up.
Yeah, they do. People enjoy, I don't know, kind of a little contest, a little bit of fun, especially when you're there, especially at a local business, because you do have a lot of local customers, and it gives you that very community feel to it.
I know with let me use one of my clients as an example. Sawbuck's Pub at sawbuckspub.com. We've managed their online marketing now for probably approaching 7 years. And early on, we implemented a fishbowl, and it sits on the pub. There's actually 2 of them in the pub. It's a good-sized pub, and it's got a little sign on it that says "Win a dinner for 2." And every month we draw it. We take a list of the database and we reach into it and we pick a winner. But this little fishbowl, or these 2 fishbowls, without fail, there are 50 to 100 new subscribers in there every single month, just passively sitting there. And with a little contest, and you've seen this, it doesn't take much of an incentive for people to actually drop their business card, or in our particular case, if they don't have a business card, we've got a little card that we create for our clients where they can enter their name and their email address, and they check off that they're actually subscribing.
Right. Yeah. Any little kind of prize. I mean, if you're a local coffee shop, give a free latte to whoever you decide to pick on. And like James said, it is a very passive way to do it. You don't have to quote unquote solicitate emails at this point. It's communicating right in front of them. They're interested. And even something that you can do is you can kind of fill the fishbowl a little bit with some cards already. Kind of make it seem like, okay, some people are already interacting. It makes people a little bit more comfortable to submit a card or to drop a business card in there.
Very true. I know I was helping a buddy of mine. He's got a whale watching business, and he has a nice little tent, sits on the end of the pier, and people come up to the tent and they would be saying hello, and then they would walk away. And I'm like, hold on a second. That's a perfect potential customer for you. And just because they didn't buy right now doesn't mean they won't, take advantage of your whale watching service later. Why don't we put a fishbowl up here, put a little contest together where every month we'll give away a whale watching adventure for 2. And within no time, he had 2,300 subscribers just from that one summer.
Yeah, that's perfect. And it's local people. So you're communicating to someone who's in your area, so they can easily make that transition from being a spectator to a customer.
Just before we move on to number 2 here, one more idea for the fishbowl. And this is a little bit different of a twist on it. And I'll use the same pub as an example. Every year, like I would think most pubs, and establishments who feature the Super Bowl or football in their establishment, or anybody that has walk-in traffic where they could run a contest immediately. So if they've got, maybe they're a nightclub, maybe they're, any type of business like that. What we do and we've done this every year, is he gives away a bunch of prizes to bring people into the pub. Super Bowl's a big party that day for everybody, does contest at halftime and does a contest at the end and gives away all kinds of stuff. But the big prizes, whether it's the jerseys or the Coors Light Ride 'em cooler, all these types of prizes, what we do is we have them fill out the card with their name and email address, check to receive emails from us, and they put that in the fishbowl. And then when it's time to draw, he pulls out of the fishbowl the winner. We announce it, give the prizes away in the pub that day. But now he's got 250 subscribers, and it took an hour and a half. It took the duration of the football game. So
that's a great point. Any event that you're having at the moment, capitalize on it, because there's momentum already there. You have people who maybe they're coming in because it's a special occasion, such as the Super Bowl. It's a perfect time to capture those people.
Absolutely. So that's kind of the magic fishbowl. We talked a little bit about incentives and just the simplicity of it. And a fishbowl doesn't cost, I don't know, $10 maybe.
Right. Yeah.
So
right.
it's not a lot of money in it. Just drop your business card into it. And again, as you said and very wisely pointed out, these are local people who've already interacted with you. So these are potentially your, some of your best customers.
Yeah, and actually, you know what? You can get a little creative with it. Let's say you're a barbershop. Instead of getting a fishbowl, get a mock, barbershop old school sign that's cylinder with the red and blue kind of crossing, and do something like that. Or if you're a coffee shop, get a big mug, and then that becomes your kind of fishbowl. So, or if you're an auto shop, get like a fake tire, something that's symbolic to the type of business and industry you're in. It's very playful, and maybe even that could be eye catching, where they say, "Well, why do you have a big coffee mug there?" It's like, oh, well, we're doing this contest. If you can see the sign, you can drop a business card and things like that. So, the fishbowl is really just a metaphor for some kind of container to capture emails physically, but get creative in your business. I think that would be really helpful.
And these little cards that we're talking about as well, for those that don't have business cards, we have a little card that we've actually perfected for potential subscribers to actually fill out, and it allows them to check off Gmail or whatever the major email service providers that they're using, or maybe it's a personal email. So that's one of the things that we provide to our clients as SmarterLocal reps. Now, number 2 is existing clients, and I know this is often overlooked, and to me, they're a valued resource.
Yeah, and that's it. Yes, they are overlooked a lot, usually because there's a rapport that was built there and you just don't think about it. A lot of business owners see the existing clients or their number one clients and customers as a close friend. So I think they don't put the business hat on and think, wait, I could either ask them for an email, ask them for a review, things like that. But we'll stick with the email for sure. It's something that you can definitely leverage your existing clientele for.
And statistically, and I'm sure most listeners have heard this as well, it takes 6 to 7 times more effort to bring a new customer or new client through your doors than it does to bring an existing client back for more. And by having that email address, it's so much easier to do. And I know I've got a chiropractor that we manage his online presence for in the Victoria marketplace, and he didn't have anybody on his list when we began, but he had a database of some, let's just say just under 1,000 patients, and we took those patients, and fortunately they were in the habit of asking everybody for their contact information, including their email address. So he already had those, so he just put those into his database, mailed them all, and that's so he went from 0 to literally just under 1,000 just by taking his existing patients and pouring them into the software.
Right. And something similar, I was doing some marketing consulting for my local Chamber of Commerce. And the Chamber of Commerce here is trying to get into a little bit of like video marketing, podcasting, things like that. And one of their biggest questions was, how do I communicate it? How do I get the viewership? How do I get the message out there? And it was pretty much something similar to this. It's like, you guys have existing businesses where you can you already have their information because they're part of the chamber, or there were honorary members, or they just dropped into a meeting every once in a while, but they never really made a full membership. Well, you have those email addresses, put it in that database, and now you have a audience that you can target the creative side of the business, whether it's the podcast and local news and things like that.
That's true. That's so true. Now, that's kind of a no-brainer. Number 2 is your existing clients. So let's move on to number 3. As another way to bring, and back to the headline, it's surprisingly easy ways to quickly grow your email audience from 0 to 1,000. Now, and the reason I should say, incidentally, the reason I say 1,000 seems to be just a nice sweet spot. Yeah. And it's a first basic milestone that I find businesses want to get to, because it gives you enough people in your database now that if you've got a special that's coming on, I know a fish and chip shop in Steveston, they're not a client of ours, but I know them. They actually have a really good solid email audience, and on a Monday or a Tuesday, it's raining and it's cold and there's not much happening in their business. They can pop off an email and say, hey, we're going to do a special tonight to bring you in, and they can fill it up.
Right. And that's the power of it. That's the power of having a dedicated audience that you can, something like that. Oh, weather's a little bad. You know what? Let's cook up some fresh clam chowder, take a quick picture of it, send it via the email, and get some people in the door.
You bet. I know we do this with Sawbucks. They decided to try this, and they're always looking for new ways to keep their audience engaged and entertained. And one of the things they did is they found a local girl who's a painter, and they had a paint night. And they tried this, and they said, okay, we'll do a paint night. She came in, she had 25 canvases and all the paint for everybody, and they set everybody up in the corner of the pub, and it was a big success. They charged $26 per painter, and in they came, and they had dinner, and they had drinks, and it was really a fun night, and they repeated it for the last 6 months. They took a break for summer, but it's been sold out every single month since. And the only reason that actually worked is because we have a really good solid email following and a good Facebook following. So I always thought, okay, so if we didn't have all of their subscribers to be able to email this special event to, and all of the Facebook followers to mention it to them as well, how would we have marketed this paint night to everybody?
Right. Now you're looking at, online ads and actually having to put money towards the event and then hoping you break out even that enough people come in. But since you already have that dedicated following in the email and in social, it's like a no-brainer to promote.
That's right. And you're right. You would have to pay for advertising. Of course, it doesn't cost anything to send emails, and it doesn't cost anything to post a message on Facebook. So it's a new era. So number 3. Start, and we did this with the pub as well, start a VIP club.
Mm-hmm.
And
for sure.
Yeah, so give the visitors to your website or the followers in Facebook or the people wandering into your establishment or your clients, if you're dealing with clients one-on-one, give them an incentive to give you their email address. And in the case of Sawbucks, and this, we just called it a VIP club because it kind of fit them, but there's other ideas that could be applied with the same strategy where you're giving them an incentive, making them feel special, and maybe giving them some special offers that only VIP club members receive. And I find in the Sawbucks site, if you go to sawbuckspub.com, you'll notice there's a nice little pop-up that says join our VIP club. And then we've got some imagery on the page as well. And there's a couple of slider images, as we call them, that also provide the details on what they receive as a VIP member.
Yeah, exclusivity is key. I mean, people love, nice little exclusive deals. And that really is a trigger point for people to say, I better get my email address on here because I don't want to miss out on being part of this club, etc. And obviously you have to provide some type of value for the VIP club, whether it's a discount on services or a free service or free product, things, or maybe even, one thing you can do is just early news, right? There's a brewery here in town. It's a local brewery, and one of the ways they kind of have this exclusivity or the VIP club to gather emails is by letting people know the first release of a certain beer, right? Or the restock of a seasonal beer that they love. So if you join their VIP club or you join that exclusivity, they'll email you first and tell you, hey, we have a fresh keg of that beer you love that was from last summer. It's coming out. So, come this Thursday and you can kind of get a taste before we release it to the public and it sells out. One
of my clients actually does something very similar to that, where it's not beer, although that would be more fun. They own a clothing store. And when they get some special, sometimes they only get a certain amount of inventory, and they've already got a very special clientele already kind of targeted that when you get this, make sure you let us know type of offer. So when she can get a hold of this type of apparel, she just pops off an email and it's not even a large audience. I think there's like 35 or something that she sends it to. She pretty much sells it out every single time.
Right. Because especially with apparel, you have 35 people, but those, women usually shop in packs, right? That's the social aspect of it. So they're going to bring a girlfriend, they're going to bring, family member, etc. So that's another, you said in the title, 1,000 is a great milestone. But if you feel like it's a little intimidating you for your business, 100, 200, 500, that's a great number as well, because it is local people who then can spread the word and bring people in with them.
You bet. Good, very good to point out. Now I can see we are coming up against the clock here, Jose. Any final words of encouragement or advice to those who may be thinking of embracing email as a really primary marketing strategy for their business?
Yeah, definitely. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. It's not as complicated as you might make it in your head. And the power of asking for an email, whether it's passively or more directly, goes a really long way. And you mentioned it earlier. It costs nothing, to run an email campaign. You can have very affordable software or a very affordable, team like ourselves who can guide you through that. And, you're almost doing yourself a disservice not to give it a try and bring in that extra channel of marketing for your business.
Very well said. Now, Jose, thank you so much for joining us today.
For sure. Yeah, it's always a pleasure, James.
Now, for those listeners, if we mentioned something here or talked about something today that makes sense to you, but you're not quite sure how to get started, simply reply to the email in which you received this podcast episode again to arrange a free 30-minute no-obligation consultation. We'd love to sit with you, chat with you, and show you some very interesting ways to get set up to bring more clients and customers back through your doors. Again, simply reply to the email in which you received this podcast episode to arrange your free, no-obligation, 30-day free, no obligation, 30-minute consultation. And finally, if you enjoyed this episode and you know a friend or an associate who would benefit from what we shared here today, please do pass this episode on to them. I'm sure they'll be happy to receive it, and I'm sure they'll thank you for it. Jose, thanks again, and to our listeners, thanks for listening to another edition of the Smarter Local Marketing Podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Smarter Local Marketing Podcast. If you would love to finally have in place a rock-solid internet marketing strategy that provides you with an excellent ongoing return on investment, then go ahead and reply to the email in which you received this podcast episode to arrange a free, no-obligation 30-minute consultation to discuss how a smarter local marketing program can be tailored to your specific needs and business. Again, simply reply to the email in which you received this podcast episode to arrange your free, no-obligation 30-minute consultation.
Stepped right outside with my guitar in my hands, and the notes became alive as the sound caressed the air, and I kicked it up a notch as I strode